What is up, everybody? Today we are at Silver Falls State Park, and I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity to let you know of a few simple tips on how to become a professional photographer. So the pre-step before anything is to just start doing a lot of research. Watch a lot of YouTube videos, read a lot of blogs, whatever you have to do just to understand the basics of photography, the basics of exposure. You want to get that down before you kind of pick up the camera or while you're picking up the camera and working with that. So pre-step is you got to figure out your stuff. I'll put some links in the description below on just a few basic videos and websites that will be really helpful if you're just getting started with photography. I should also say that these principles loosely can be applied to pretty much any kind of creative occupation. So this is what I did as well on my journey to kind of getting paid to make videos or do different paid video work. All right, so step number one is just get out there and shoot. There's this myth going around that you need to have the best, most expensive camera out there, and it is just not true. So whatever it is that you have, whether it's a GoPro or a smartphone, maybe you've got a Canon Rebel or an older Sony, it doesn't really matter. Get out there and just start taking photos. When learning any kind of new craft, it's always important to just get as much practice as you can. Learn different kinds of styles, take as many photos as you can, just get comfortable with whatever camera you have, and then you can start to upgrade and you can start to get better equipment. But step number one in becoming a professional photographer is just get out there and practice. All right, let's move to our next location. Step number two is find your own creative style. So as with anything in life, you want to be able to differentiate yourself from the pack. And so trying to find your own unique style is super important. And so one of the ways that I did this and that I would always recommend is to kind of look to other creatives or other influencers, other professional photographers on their style. And now, while I wouldn't say that copying is ever the right thing to do, I think starting out and emulating your favorite photographers or videographers is always a good call. It'll help you kind of figure out what you like, what your style is, and it'll also teach you how they got to where they are. So by emulating or trying to find out why they shot it at this angle or why they use this lens, it'll really help you in kind of defining your own style, creating your own style, and figuring out what separates you from the rest of the pack. Okay, next spot. Okay, so step number three is find gigs. And I don't really mean get a paid gig right off the bat, although if that's possible, definitely don't turn it down. That'd be great. But what I mean is try and find as many gigs as you can that are just free. So whether that's taking portraits of your friends or finding a company and reaching out to them and saying, hey, would it be okay if I create a video for you? Or would it be okay if I take some photos for your company? So by getting more and more of these free gigs under your belt, you're able to create a portfolio that you're able to then give to companies and get paid work. So again, number three is try to get as many photo shoots under your belt as possible. It doesn't matter if they're free to start out with, but just try to get as many as you can to build your portfolio up as big as you can to really hone your craft and get it as professional looking as possible. So again, just practicing all the first steps, taking lots and lots of photos, reaching out to your friends, getting those photo shoots or taking as many photos of nature as possible so that you can then reach out to companies and have your rates. which we will talk about next. Okay, before we get to the last step, there could be another step in between, and that's as well as trying to get those free gigs. I think it's also a great idea to try and find a mentor too. So if you're trying to get into portraits, or maybe you want to get into wedding photography, finding a mentor is super helpful. And I know a couple people that have been able to find that person and just be able to develop their confidence in shooting alone, and develop their confidence in their skills and their abilities, their own specific, unique style. And so I think finding a mentor is also really important. But let's get to that last and final step. Okay, so the last step, sometimes the most fun, sometimes the most daunting, but it's how the heck do you get a paid gig? How do you get to become this professional photographer that you've always dreamed about? And so I think this happens in two different ways. So one, it's creating a space that companies or the public can see your professional work. And so that can come in Instagram. I think social media is super effective, really helpful in having a place to showcase your portfolio. So on Instagram, people are able to see just the different photos you take, your particular style, just how amazing you are, and they're able to see that and then want to work with you. And I think the other is creating a website, having a media kit available on your website. And so again, these are just a few ways that you're able to showcase your work. And again, this applies to whether it's video or photography, maybe it's, design, whatever it is, have a place where people can access your stuff, your work. And the second part is actually reaching out to companies. And so once you have those free gigs under your belt, you're able to have this portfolio, which you're then able to reach out to companies with. And so again, I'm not going to get too much into pricing, but don't go too low, don't go too high, but find that sweet spot, especially if you're starting out new. Don't jack the price up, but also don't go so low that it, drives kind of competition out of the water. But anyways, when you are reaching out to companies, I prefer to do it in multiple ways. So finding people on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is a really untapped resource where you can find people, their specific positions, and reach out to them to see if their company needs work. For me, I know which niche I'm in, so I reach out to companies that fall under my niche and look to provide them with a service. And so whether that's email or phone calls, sometimes it's even in person, it's always really helpful it's always really important to be able to reach out. You're brand new, not everybody's just gonna come to you. Even if you are doing amazing work, people need to know how to find your stuff. And so part of that is reaching out. And so whether, again, that's cold calling, emails, reaching out to people in person, leaving business cards, they're all effective ways that you can find work. And the more people that you work with, again, the better and bigger your portfolio will become. And when you're working with a lot of companies, it provides more credibility. It provides more of a draw for other companies to work with you. So again, don't be discouraged. For me, I get one yes out of maybe like 100 no's, especially when I was starting out. So just continue to plug away, continue to grow, continue to evolve and get better in your craft, whatever your craft is, photography or videography, but always grow, always learn, and continue to reach out to companies in those different ways. So again, don't be discouraged, just keep plugging away, asking for help, and having those conversations with companies that could could benefit from them. Make sure again that you're not pestering companies. Reach out once, twice, and if you don't hear an answer back or you get that no, just leave it at that. Maybe just a word from the wise. But yeah, don't get discouraged. Keep plugging away, keep learning, keep growing. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely drop a comment below if there's anything I missed or if there's any topics that you'd love for me to cover. And otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video.